caught me designing a rock buggy. This is Twist from YYC Designz, Custom RC Creations. And it's Sunday, so Sunday's usually my day where I do sometimes work in the shop, or today where my back is killing me, I decided to take the day off and just sit in the shop and do a little designing. So one way or another, I'm kind of always seem to be up to doing something with YYC Designz anyway. I lead such an exciting life, Tam and I. we do stuff though. Yeah, no, it's just Sunday's usually kind of our sit around days. So she says, "Hey, if you want to go work in the shop, go do that." Or if I want to be here in the small shop in the house, so that at least we're close together, I can design. And I do ask her a lot about her opinion on the way things look, angles, design ideas, all that kind of thing. Excuse me. So I kind of thought, hey, well, why not do maybe a shop tour? I thought, okay, you guys have seen the shop and the videos a little bit, and, you know, maybe to some it looks like a junk heap. I can't blame you. It is rather crowded, mostly because we don't have a lot of space. My shop, the big shop, is 200 square feet total, and over the winter, before we decided to start doing videos and stuff here on YouTube, I was using the back end of it for storage so that I could organize things and all of that and get them into our outside storage, stuff that doesn't matter if it freezes or not, because we are, of course, in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where it gets really cold sometimes, or it gets really hot in the summer sometimes. So yeah, I have outside storage, and basically we were doing some work on the house and like that, and so we decided to reorganize everything. And then all of a sudden, the idea for getting into the RCs and doing it as a business popped into our heads, and so we started. But my fault, because I really didn't think it through as far as what the shop would look like for y'all. And, you know, admittedly, y'all must think, wow, this guy's place is just a dump. But we are in the middle of renos on the house, the yard, and kind of all over, because our house is 30 years old and it needs some work. So we decided that, you know, what the hell? I mean, we got to start somewhere. We don't, you know, we're not going to get everything we want done in one shot, obviously. We do a little, save some money. You know, we're just your typical homeowners, right? Consequently, things are not where they should be. And a lot of stuff, both in the little shop here, as you can see in the background behind me, are not where they should be. Things in the big shop are not where they should be. We are saving for a computer because our computer died. So I presently shoot everything and edit and produce everything on my Samsung Galaxy S7 right now. That may change. I'm debating on whether I should start using a computer, and my ma has said, yeah, come on over, use the computer. Problem is, she's an hour away through city traffic. On bad days, she's more like 2 hours away. So I really got to pick my times, and sometimes, you know, videos just can't wait. I got to get them out to you. I don't have the time to go running over there, do 3-4 hours worth of editing, produce the video, and then 2 hours back here, right? So I'm kind of debating on that too. I might use that as when I have time, but if I don't have time, I'll continue just doing it here on the phone. But anyway, yeah, so I figured, what the heck, let's do a shop tour and explain some stuff to y'all. So here we go. So we'll go through quite quickly here. These are the two RCs that I have bought. One is Dorothy, our Gen 7 Sport, which I am modifying. Not a whole lot. I will give her a metal body, but I'm going to keep the plastic one here. She does have a winch and she has some extra lights, but I'm going to leave her this way so that I can run her on the trails on 1.9s, as you can see, and that way we have something to compete with if we get into a competition. And here is our brand new Wraith right out of the box, and we're only going to add a couple of figures to it just to make it look a little bit more complete, and leave it as she is again so we can run her. This is a 360 degree swivel vise. It is a no heat vise, so everything has to be cold, but I find it works well, kind of like a third hand sometimes. It's now holding my Samsung so I can do this voice work on this video. It's mounted to a wood vise so it can move more freely, and I can actually turn it on its side. Next to it is my small indoor vise. I use that for a lot of my smaller pieces and body work. And a guy's got to have a little entertainment, yeah? Some safety equipment, my air respirator, and a lot of my tools that I use inside. Vehicle specific parts up here, all organized in bins. Inside air, so that I have air in the shop here coming off my little compressor. And my paint gun, one of my paint guns, this is the one I use most often, is why it's hanging there. Holds about a pint really nicely. Does everything from pinstriping right to full-on panel pieces. I use a bigger gun, of course, for the complete vehicles, but this does a lot of my smaller pieces really nicely. It's very, very articulate, this one, and I use it one hell of a lot for a shitload of work. So, moving on, excuse me, we move to my Fordham graver. Down in the back, you see my engraving machine. The Fordham graver, I do a lot of metal work with it, stuff like that. Here's some more tools and bits for the graver that I use, but I use that a lot for carving out my wood pieces or just fine grinding on the tiny little pieces that I make for the RCs here. It just gets into places where naturally a bigger grinder wouldn't get. There's all my nuts and bolts and smaller bits and bobs that I use in the building of our RCs. And of course, I'm a Coke addict, as you notice. Right there is my small toolbox, which is kind of buried, but it holds all of my little tools for the RCs, the screwdrivers, tips, all sorts of things that we all use on the RCs. Moving outside, there's some of the roof damage that we did to our 200 square foot shop. That's some sealant holding the roof down where I couldn't get it quite flush. And of course my wood pile. I went through 3.5 cords this year. A lot of wood went through that fireplace this year. It was a very cold winter. Our backyard needs some help. The fence is well overdue for repair. But actually, like I said, we're doing renos. We're planning on turning this into a rock crawler, rock garden sort of thing. Keep both Tams and I happy. Lots of plants for her and lots of places so I can test my crawlers out back here. So this will change drastically. This is the little coal burning oven I use for a lot of my forge work. I keep it outside, mostly because the coal does produce a lot of smoke. Moving inside now, you run into my big 400-pound anvil that I actually got from my father, and I inherited it from him. The chain is wrapped around it to keep the ringing down. Now, of course, when you hammer here, like I'm demonstrating, these big vices ring loud enough to make it a Tylenol moment from hell. You can go through half a bottle of Tylenol to get rid of the headache, is what I mean. This is my homemade welding torch holder. It holds both oxyacetylene and gas torches rather well. It swivels. A buddy of mine and myself designed that when I was in high school. Some of the tools I use: filing cabinet, just so it's out of the house, stuff we don't need very often, and my metal pile for, well, my big metal pile. I keep all of my large stock there beside the wood stove, but that's all of my large stock. Now I'm talking heavy duty stuff. I have a few antiques hanging around. This is actually a gas torch. It runs off of gasoline, and I still use that for a lot of my smaller shaping work. I find it heats very well, but it heats big areas, so I use it a lot like a rosebud. This is my metric toolbox, and here's a couple of my metal cutters. This one is a dual zip saw. It's a double-bladed affair, 2 tungsten carbide blades, one moving in either direction, clockwise and anti-clockwise. I do a lot of sheet metal cutting with that. And of course my little grinder that I do all of my cleaning up work with. Now my standard toolbox and some cleaning supplies up above. This holds the majority of my tools, my hammers, and that is not a screwdriver. It is actually my lighter for my wood stove. My body hammers, I have some other ones down here, pick hammers, bumping hammers. This one actually I wanted to show you. This is a very old hammer I got from my dad. This is a hail hammer. Very long handle used to reach the center of the roof to repair hail damage. Moving on, my big vise outside, not outside, in the big shop. Storage cabinet for a lot of parts, differentials. I keep a couple of magnets on here so I can hold my notes and stuff. And an homage to Tammy from Saskatchewan and me from Alberta. And this is where you see a lot of the filming and a lot of work going on here at YYC Designz Custom RC Creations. My 360-degree swivel vise mounted about 3 feet away from that. And of course my tunes. And moving on to my big drill press here. And a lot of my supplies and so on behind it. All my drill bits handy right beside there. It's a great old drill press I got from my pop. Here's my welding setup, the oxyacetylene anyway. Bunch of our projects in front of her. Here you'll see, well, you'll see the trailer. Both 1/14 scale trucks, Moose and London Calling, sitting on Voodoo here. And I've just kind of got them stacked up and out of the way so I can work on one project at a time. And a little grinder for very tiny detail work sitting next to that. Yeah, I use that little grinder for a lot of my tiny stuff. An old broken bench, not bench, bandsaw. My metal brake for bending and doing all the nice clean tight bends. My big metal chop saw. Next to it a compound miter saw, sliding compound miter saw for our woodwork. My arc helmet, MIG helmet, whatever you want to call it. Some safety gear, face shield, that sort of thing. This little cart is portable. It moves around. It holds my big grinder on it, as well as a few other things here I'll show you in a sec. But that's my big grinder, buffing machine so we can buff up the aluminum and make it shine like chrome. A whole bunch of little tools on this cart, as well as electrodes and all of that for the stick welder, which is down here below, hiding behind the cables. There's a little tiny stick welder. I also have a big 220 volt stick welder, as well as my MIG. It is a Lincoln I-40, and it does a fantastic job with the cooling bucket so that I can cool parts coming off the grinder. My scrap pile with the 2 cabin cruisers sitting in front of it. There's another boat like that hanging from the rafters that'll be mine. And that's kind of our shop tour outside, except for the fridge. Everybody's got to have a fridge, yeah? But that's it for outside. There's our shops. Hope you guys enjoyed them. I know the big shop outside isn't terribly neat and tidy and studio-like. I have a lot of stuff out there that's got to be moved into storage. Like I said, winter kind of cut us really, really short last year on how much we could get done rental-wise outside. But I did get most of the storage space built. So I just got to move some stuff, and then a big compressor will come in, as well as some other tools will get set up. And yeah, so it's never going to look like a studio like you see on a lot of the YouTube channels here. It's a working shop. It's just the way it's going to be. Metalwork is not a clean business. You know, the welding, the grinding, all of that produces a certain amount of schmutz, and being wood heated doesn't help. It's doesn't mean it has to be as cluttered and as crowded as as it is now. And some days it drives me nuts to have to keep shuffling tools around as I need them, but you know, I'll cure that as best I can this summer, so you'll see some changes out there, and hopefully in the house as well, because this room that I'm in right now is going to get another transformation. It's been like this for 20 years. It's time for an update on the house, and yeah, we're going to make this more of a studio per se. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. We do reply to every comment we get on every video, and I read them all. I love doing it, and I really appreciate your input. So yeah, please feel free. Next videos that are going to be coming up are probably going to be either a Miss Voodoo or a London calling. I have some filming done on that. And there's a few things I wanted to add into those videos that I haven't got done. That'll happen early this week, so expect a London calling and a Miss Voodoo project coming up real soon to watch. Other than that, that's about all I got for you today. I hope you all had a great weekend, no matter where in the world you all are. And know that we really appreciate your support of our channel and of our company. And thank you very much. Take care, be good, and we'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.